Dang, dang. Greetings all. Thank you very much for having me on this interview. Um, Obviously, hail straight out of Zimbabwe, the southern part of Zimbabwe, Blawayo. Come from a family that has mom and dad and four sisters, two older and two younger. And I think that family setup actually led me to playing a lot of sport. So in my younger years, I played everything: swam, cricket, you name it. I was there, volleyball. And eventually, it all narrowed down to rugby, and found a real passion for it. And I was blessed enough to play through the club system in Zimbabwe, Old Newtonians being the club I started at, and then moving on to Old Hararians in Harare, where I spent a healthy number of years there. And then obviously the accolades came with provincial representation and also playing for the Zim Sables, which is something I still hold dearly to my heart. Rugby has provided me a life and provided me a life's journey. So it's taken me to many countries. I've seen a little bit of the world through rugby. I've also been fortunate to then transition after playing days onto some managerial as well as coaching stints. Being an educator, obviously being in schools, offered the opportunity to work very closely in the developmental section of rugby. So I've had a nice long run of working with sort of under 16s and under 19s in my time. Club-wise, I coached at Primrose in Cape Town for about 3.5 seasons, and then moved on to Villages. And of late, I was working with the University of Cape Town's second team as the forwards coach. I've also been blessed with the school that I worked at, Camps Bay High School, where I coached the under 19s for a couple of seasons. And through that, I also coached the Grand Como, which is under 16 Western Province B team. I was the assistant coach there. And then fortunate enough to be allowed to be the head coach of the academy team for 3 years. And then obviously COVID hit, and we were all doing what we gotta do. Again, through the interaction in the province, I was named as one of the candidates to go forward for the RB Level 3, which I'm currently undertaking, and hoping that once everything settles down, I can complete my assessments and obviously attain the accreditation. So through COVID, the opportunity came up. I was looking around quietly, and then found that Kabras were looking for a head coach. And so that's how the journey came. And then 1 or 2 phone calls, 2 interviews, and this is where I am now. So I think it's had a huge impact in terms of my approach. So there are a lot of conventional things that coaches get exposed to. I'm a forwards coach and stereotypically focus more on the scrummage. But funny enough, I'm being interviewed by scrummage right now. Yeah. But scrummaging is one of the areas that I love coaching. But obviously generally as a forwards coach. Now being in South Africa has both challenged me and also opened up my mind to different approaches. So the understanding of the type of athlete that you have and what you're working with, and then obviously based on that, then coming up with what you may deem a plan of action that you take with the players. The challenges in South Africa are interesting, to say the least, and you really have to have a thick skin in terms of your coaching ability there. You get challenged on many levels, your knowledge content, and as well as other social issues that do come up. So that has helped to put me in a place where it's allowed me to think through who I am as an individual, and an individual that's partaking in the game of rugby. And if I'm going to guide players in their growth path, then obviously the concepts that I have to align with the time where they are, the age that they're working on, and obviously their own developmental pathways that they're on. I mean, currently, obviously being at Kabras, you're working with a highly functional, highly performing club setup, which also carries some players who may have potential national interest. So obviously it shapes a lot in terms of what you have to bring to that kind of player. The challenges are very exciting, and I'm enjoying myself. It's been so chilled. It's been so chill. Look, I think being in Cape Town and in South Africa, I've been working quite hard, relentless hours, literally from 7 in the morning until maybe after club hours at 8 in the evening. You know, you do that for months and months on end. So the change of pace has been good for me, and I think it's something that my family is picking up as well. It's also allowed me to spend a lot of time in reflection. Obviously, as you grow older in life, you think through a lot more things, and I think it's allowed me to do that. The people of Kakamega have been amazing. What I particularly enjoy are getting on the pickies with the guys, you know, and then you have a chat about life in Kakamega and whatever not, and just being on the street. So it's been nice. I think Kakamega is a nice town. I see a lot of people working hard, you know, to make ends meet and to meet life's demands. So no, life in Kakamega has been fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time so far. Look, if you talk about the facilities, it's crazy. If you're not well centered, you can actually get shocked and surprised by what you see. And I obviously take cognizance of the fact that you know, you're coming out of South Africa where a lot of the clubs have got very well established clubhouses and, you know, that kind of thing. And then you walk into a Kabras in the middle of an agricultural showground with huge forests around it, you know, but the setup is insane. It's an actually amazing setup, and I've spoken to the chairman and also the assistant coach that I'm working with, Jerome Muller. I would really love to replicate what Kabras is doing somewhere else around the world. First of all, I think the relationship that Rugby on its own in this town has with a flagship sponsor such as Kabras Sugar is insane. I mean, this is a company and a product that's well recognized in the community here, and obviously I'm sure across the borders of Kenya and the neighboring countries. So the relationship that's there between the club and the sponsor is actually fantastic. What Rugby is benefiting from that relationship, as I found, is insane. You got young players coming out of school who are on scholarships, so which means they're preparing for lifelong learning, which is not just rugby centric. They also get a meal after training, which you all come to enjoy. Alan and George do a wonderful job of making sure everyone is well fed there. So if you just look at that aspect of it, where a young man can get an education and also just have a meal that he's had, it's crazy. And then the other facilities that are there, you talk about in the program, the gym that's run by Richard Ocheng is like amazing, and obviously the program that he's run through there, the boys are so well conditioned. It's actually fantastic to see that the shape that they're in right now, and the rest of it around, obviously the support. I mean, tomorrow there's a kit launch and whatever not. I mean, when you see the type of kit, look at what I'm wearing. I'm branded Kabras Sugar one side, and this is Macron, one of the new players on the rugby kit suppliers. And I mean, that's a fantastic sponsorship that the guys have. So I think that it being at Kabras is actually opened my eyes to a few more things as well. Dang, dang. Okay, so look, the club has an image and has an identity, you know, so you can't temper too much with genetics, and that's not what I'm about. The predecessors that have come before me, and obviously Henry du Plessis in the past couple of seasons, done a fantastic piece of work out here. What I find key for me at this stage is really paying attention to detail. There's some finer things which, working with players, I found we've needed to give the right attention. Working on body positioning and working on simple things like where to place the hands, how to receive, you know, a ball, cushioning the fall and all that. So I've really taken the side that we break everything down into its basic fundamentals, and we make sure that we fine tune all those, because I think once we get those aspects and those things right, we can then build correctly. Not to say that it wasn't right before, but this is what I found, and that's the way we're going to approach. So I'm hoping that what you're going to meet on the field is going to be a very technical team, okay, where in every facet of the game they are able to carry out the tasks that they have. I think hopefully also tactically you'll find a team that is has a core identity but happy to explore around that identity. And I think those are the things I'll bring to Kabras and obviously to the Kenyan League. So don't expect too many changes. Yeah.
Okay.
That has been a journey on its own. I think initially it was confusion, and I think generally speaking, as human beings, we struggle with change. When new challenges come our way, we default to what we know. And fortunately, I think having had the time to work through the late end of last year, when sort of the restrictions around COVID and numbers of training that we could use, it has helped a lot. If I watch footage of where the players were when we were just still doing the small groups and individual skills, and what I'm seeing now is a sort of a product that's about to be put out to the Kenyan rugby fraternity. I'm quite excited at what I'll see the players do. Obviously, we are going to get tested now. We are going to get challenged, and so we'll see whether all those things and the work that we've put in and the systems that we have in place for them added to their core identity. It'll be interesting to see what fruit is produced from that. If I look at the squad that's there, I think it's a well put together squad. If you look at the average age of the whole squad I'm talking about now is very interesting. Whatever has been done in the years leading up to where we are now is interesting, and it is my belief that with the players that Kabras Sugar RFC has right now, they could potentially be building a team that is going to challenge for that trophy for the next 5-10 years. I believe that the one thing that's missing is just for the club to put both hands on the trophy, but once they taste that victory, I'm sure it's going to be a tough nut to crack for other teams. The players themselves are chomping at the bits to get ready to get back out on the field. The challenge from our side has been managing the process of players who are a little bit disappointed for not making the final squad or just on the edge of it, and then now it's taking those that we've seen as being in the squad to actually get the right combinations onto the field. So yeah, there will be a little bit of testing, but I do believe that the timing is almost perfect that Kabras puts his hands on the Kenya Cup. So the work that has gone on before my arrival has been impeccable, and obviously we can only build on that. Yeah, that's an interesting question, in the sense that my knowledge of Kenyan players comes from the time when I played. An opportunity to play against a couple of the Kenyan teams, and also what I've seen now. Obviously, without having full exposure to competition, it's kind of not correct for me to put a judgment totally. But over the next couple of weeks and months, obviously I'm gonna be a lot more clear about who Kenyan players are. The one thing I do understand, and what I've seen from footage and watching past games and whatever, is it's a very beautifully confrontational league where players are prepared to take each other on. The physicality is insane, and it's beautiful to see. So it's difficult to go the other way, where you have to try and get a player to be physical to go into contest. But now what we're dealing with is Kenyan players, from what I see, is already have the attributes in terms of physique, and then obviously the mentality behind it. They have what it takes to front up and to take guys on. Not knowing what the other clubs are doing, obviously we'll see it in competition now, but working obviously from the Kabras side of things is just the understanding of what to do with ball in hand and what are the possibilities of what you can create with that. So the artistry side of the game is what I think I've been venturing forward with. Not losing the bread and butter issues that you need to address. So I think Kenya in terms has the players that could take it possibly to the next World Cup. The only question is, how is that process being managed from a national perspective, and obviously all the role players as you work your way down from the national picture. But having gone to repechage, it shows that Kenya is only about 2 or 3 games away from qualifying. So I think they have the players to go to the next level in the world scene.
So Kabras, being a Kakamega team, it has a huge fan base. What message can you send to the Kabras Rugby?
Yeah, I think obviously players thrive on a crowd. They thrive on motivation. They thrive on having the people they go to work with and go to school with and interact with in the community being there. So I think for the fan of Kakamega is please continue doing what you've been doing in the past. It has worked a charm, and also hopefully the boys will bring something a little more exciting to you to watch and partake of. And obviously it's just the support that we would love to keep having from the community of Kakamega. Personally, I think it's just nerves. It's actually very exciting to be back. Going into the unknown for me is a nice challenge. So it's one that I'm gritting my teeth towards and in anticipation of what's going to come. For the players themselves, I think the lockdown and the restrictions have been a real challenge, but the excitement has really ratcheted up quite a lot, and I think they're excited to get out onto the field. I know the little I know is that on the other side there's also a new coach who I'm sure is putting his identity on the team as well, and whatever it is. So it's going to be quite a dynamic environment to be in. And then obviously, Charity Cup being played at the Nyathi Stadium, it's going to be a massive opportunity for everybody involved to have that kind of facility availed for a charity game of this nature. And hopefully, obviously, it produces what they're looking for in terms of, one, the product that's on the field, and two, for the charities that will be supported through the game. But we're all very excited, and we can't wait to get on that bus to Nairobi. I think they're ready. We've done our best to make sure that the conditioning for that is right. Only a pleasure.